Welcome back to College Football, episode 29. The frustrating thing I'm starting to experience is we have managed to get better players, and we've figured out a way to be able to hang on to most of them. Now, and this is the frustrating part, we are now getting better coaches than we could get before. Slightly, like still really low tier, actually probably still bottom tier coaches, even though we're up to a 2.5-star program. Now that we are having success at a high level, multiple years in a row, we've lost a coordinator. So we are an attractive program to bigger teams, and our replacement level guys are not good. Not good at all. Every time I go into this, we're looking, well, that's better. That's a level 27 head coach coming off a job. Okay, I like that. I do like that. Wrong defensive scheme. Right pipeline to give us a little more boost in Ohio. Well, there you go. There's your changeover. We've been stuck with level like 13 to 16 coaches, or 17. I think level 17 was where we were capping out before. And finally, some better ones are coming along that are interested. We're going to go straight for Benedito. Level 33 is level 33. I mean, that is a big plus. Pipeline being Illinois doesn't help us a ton, but Illinois is close enough that we would be getting bonuses for proximity to home. And so having the pipeline there is not, the additional pipeline there is not bad. And now we'll see if we can get them hired. Of course, the reputation's still weak. Offer accepted. Okay, that's actually an improvement on what we had a defensive coordinator last year. Our former offensive coordinator just did 1 year at Cincinnati, finished, I believe, in the top 10 in the rankings, and instantly has moved on to the NFL. But Donahue, our defensive coordinator, we've had him for 2 years, 3 years. We've grown him from nothing to a level 27 B- prestige kind of guy, and he moves on to Oklahoma. But this year's national championship is between Alabama and USC, with Alabama winning comfortably 44-21. That's the first time we've seen USC have a big year in this game, and kind of similar to real life. It's been a couple decades since they've done much of anything, yet still seem to have higher prestige than my alma mater, who beats them every year. Managed to being from LA, I suppose. Final top 25. Georgia was the 1 seed who slipped down to third. Michigan up to fourth after making the semifinal. BYU and Oregon up there as well. And despite our double loss at the end of the season, we actually do end up still finishing ranked at 20th. Around us, as an 89 overall, Southern Mississippi was a 72. TCU and their 4 stars in 86. Louisiana Tech, these teams above us were not better than us until you get to Auburn. UCLA, same. So there's still some real potential, and with a better schedule, you can see us, moving in an upward trajectory in the next year or two. Now, the top 10 are all 90-plus programs until you get to Arkansas, who are the same. But, yeah, we seem to have maybe the 13th, 14th best team on paper, at least amongst the top 25. On to players leaving, and it's a small group of 6, and only one of the 2 wide receivers we were concerned about leaving. Only one has decided to leave. We do have enough persuasion to try to convince each of them to stay. But Marvin Coffey was one of the best receivers in the country this last season. Sucks that he wants to leave due to playing style, even though he was player of the week multiple times. He was getting the ball a ton. He's got a B+ on playing style, needs an A-. He had 82 catches, 1,200 yards. Why that's not seen as an A+, I don't know. He only dropped the ball twice, too. Oh, that's rough. That's going to hurt to lose. 18 touchdowns. That's going to be a big replacement. We did manage to keep one of them, meaning we're only actually losing 5 guys to the transfer market. Redshirt freshman free safety, a 79 overall. Wilbur is going to stick around. And amongst the graduates, a lot of low 80s, a kicker at 86, 90 overall, wide receiver Etze is leaving, he is graduating. He actually had the same concern with play style. He also had 89 catches, almost identical, less yardage at 1158. 5 touchdowns was definitely less. Looks like he was more of our slot receiver. Ishmael headed for the draft. Surprised he's the only one headed for the draft there. Number of high 80s, a 90 right tackle, not going to get drafted. Okay, well, that's a little bit better. Guys that weren't showing as projected did end up getting picked up in that 7th round. Quality players. And ultimately, 4 guys drafted. Ishmael, Etze, Enem Kapali, and Soro. We got a lineman, a safety, a wide receiver, and a quarterback. That helps on the recruiting front for us by having that recent draftee. So we've already landed 7 big recruits. We also have that safety a little bit further down, our first 3-star guy. Obviously, to get after these 4 stars with the extra hours, 750, it's obvious you want to spend the 50 hours. Boise State chasing. Let's go ahead and do a visit. This one should be comfortable, but we'll spend the hours, at least for now. Make sure we're not being chased. This one is being chased, so we're going to spend the hours and take the visit. And most of the 3 stars we are targeting, I don't think were contested. I've got 2 so far. Amongst those contested, 3. Ultimately, there's 6 contested. So for the moment, I've got 25 hours slotted into each, still leaving me with 400. The rest of these guys are uncontested on this list, and only one at the very bottom is one that was a recent addition that still hasn't climbed towards the top of the list, and he's, I think, the first punter in the nation, or second punter in the nation. And we just recently offered conference prestige as a problem for him, but we're moving. Conference prestige isn't going to be great where we're moving to, but it'll help us keep guys around for a little bit longer as we're going to make the shift to the American for a couple seasons. But it'll get us up to a B, so it'll definitely at least keep some of these guys in play for us. And that leaves me with 315 hours and 10 slots that we're going to look to the transfer market to fill. This would be a bigger, better, stronger class if we can get 10 quality guys. If we can get, 8 or 7 4-star plus players out of the transfer market, that would be a massive step forward for us. We've been more active in the transfer market the last couple of years. I know how to play it now, but last year was not as good as the year before when it came to going after that transfer market. So we'll see. A lot of it kind of depends on what's out there. Aggressively going after some guys in the first week gives you certainly a chance, but we're going to enter that transfer portal. Looks like D-line is the first place we need to fill, as we have a single defensive tackle target remaining right now. Oh, wild. Coffee is actually willing to come back. I think we should try. I don't want to lose Coffee. Quality 4-star guy, and he's the number 1 receiver out there. My recruitment for these 10 4-star transfers, I'm going to really prioritize, I think, where we have an advantage, as we only have 265 hours to spend anyway. So those we are top 3 in are going to get the 50-hour treatment. We might be able to actually compete head-to-head for that, right? We have the head start already. The others are going to be more of leftover introduction, hope that the competition doesn't come in. So there's 4, 5, that we were top, or top 3 in anyway. Oh, I wanted to go after coffee. There we go. Okay. We'll see. I doubt coffee is going to work, but we do have the pipeline advantage. After week 1, 4, and it's 4 of the ones we went 50 hours in on, remain in play. We are number 1 on each of their list. Only one of them is uncontested. We're going to have a real hard time with at least a couple of those, the 2 left tackles. But coffee, we've got a decent chance of retaining our top wide receiver. And as per usual, the best way to get after these transfers is to get after the ones that weren't actively being recruited. And so just finding those gems, the ones behind the face cam here that don't have an offer, that are willing to talk to us. And so far it's 1 wide receiver. We're only going to be able to accept so many of those as we already have 5 guys lined up. There's another wide receiver coming out of Michigan. I think we could take 1 more. He'll be a senior, but he should be a very good one. We've definitely done well with this class so far. We've already got a 5-star corner and a 4-star halfback gem, which is 2 of the 3 main targets that I had to start the year. There's plenty of other 4-star talent with 8 already secured. The 9th, all but secured, no competition. The 10th is nearly secured as well. So that's 10 4-stars right there. Then as you get into the 3 stars, all of them are now comfortable heading into this final week of recruitment. There's only 1 contested. And well, UConn made up some ground on us a couple weeks ago. Since switching to 50 hours last week, we are pulling away. We should easily get his signature. And so 11 through 25, that's 15 3-star recruits. Then we get into the transfers, where Coffee looks poised to re-sign with us. We also have a visit happening this week to give him even more. He should actually even reach all the way to commit status in just that 4-week period. But you do make much more progress in transfers. It's a shorter window. This is the one, I think, of our 35 that we're probably going to end up losing. We are ahead of Notre Dame. We just had a visit this last week, and they still gained anyway. So if they put in 50 hours, they've got it. We do have a chance to hit commit status. Will it apply that before Notre Dame? Small chance. But maybe, just maybe, we're able to hang on to Glenn Peppers here. But I think he's headed to Notre Dame. But other than that, 4-star corner, we've got him. Wide receiver, got him. And halfback, got him. That's another potentially 5, and it looks like 4 of them definitely headed to us. And then 3-star transfers to wrap it up. And other than the last 3 that we are just coming in on, and one of those we are already number 1 for him, those are the only other 3 iffy ones, but we're able to get 50 hours on each. So very good chance to get 34, maybe 35 in this class, including up to 15 4-star guys, or better, with 1 5-star in that group. And so quick overview, like I said, 34 of 35 I think is the minimum that I expect from this. And yes, Peppers did go with Notre Dame. We just barely missed out on that one, and 2 of the bottom 3 didn't work out either. So Central Michigan has gotten Wooten. We only climbed to number 9. Even with 50 hours, we only climbed to number 9. And Holyfield, with 50 hours, didn't crack the top 8. He got no offer from anyone, but as we didn't enter the top 8, we were not able to get the signature. So it didn't work out for Wooten or Holyfield, but we did get Talbot. So that's a bit of a surprise. We get 32, though. And that nearly gets us into the top 5. Almost, not quite. 7th recruiting class. 7th ranked recruiting class. That is crazy. 1 5-star, 13 4-star guys. Man, love to be Miami right now. Totally unranked. A 5-star, 24 4-stars, and just 3 3-stars. Well, Coffee comes in as our biggest recruit, coming right back to us. Diablo is actually only 3rd with Biggs just behind him. Biggs was... No. bigs. Wow, that's a lot of receivers. 4 receivers at the top of that with a cornerback mixed in amongst them. One of our big unlocks will be getting into the top 5 of recruiting classes. We are so close now. But I think we need to get another half star. The half star we picked up to go from 2 to 2.5 has made a substantial difference in recruitment, and we've been able to win some battles. All those extra hours are going a long way, and it's not just the extra hours, it's better ratings. Better ratings makes us a little bit competitive. We're still picking up a lot of leftover scraps, but it's not like it was before. We are able to take programs on now, occasionally, right circumstances. It's definitely not across the board. We can't just go win anyone we want to throw 50 hours at, or win most of those. It's still only when the right circumstances of those. A head start still matters a lot for us. So we definitely haven't reached that tipping point yet. But we've reached the point where it's not just you have to be the only one on that teeter-totter in order to secure a signature. And then eventually you tip it. And if somebody comes in really late, you can hang on and stop it from tipping back in their favor. Now we can get in early, get a little bit of a head start, tip that teeter-totter, and only be moderately ahead to stop them from coming back at us, depending on the program. And I've definitely been able to start watching out for, 4-star programs come in. You're not going to win. Like the Notre Dame grab in that transfer market. We had a good, healthy head start. We were his number 1 or number 2. We were in the lead after that first week. We were doing the 50 hours. We did the visit. We did everything we could, but it wasn't quite enough because a big prestige program was able to come in and steal them out from underneath us. Well, as we go into the position changes, Middlebrooks on 91. Coffee is back. He's staying with us. Just cost us some hours to do. Don't mind it. Really happy that we've got him for his senior year. He's a 91. And then 389s, a couple 87s, bunch of mid 80s before development. So we're going to have a pretty good team this next year based on that. We already know quarterback position is also one that's not going to be a problem as we're graduating our quarterback. And there's your 80 pluses. A third of the roster is already there. 4 athletes to get distributed, and 3 of them already have pretty good ratings before sending them off to where they need to go. But we have 1 quarterback, and I do think that 2 or 3 of those guys are, or 2 of those guys in the athlete section are quarterbacks. We're going to have to assign them. Here's one of them right now, dual threat. He wants to be a halfback, but no, quarterback 74. Yes, we'll put him there. And here's the other one, Stoddard. Quarterback is his best. He's not losing anything by going there. 72. So a 74 to 72 in the freshman to back up the senior or junior quarterback, right? Junior? Yeah, okay. Nice. We'll get 2 years with Joey Free, and these guys will get that time to get well into the 80s and be redshirt sophomores by the time one of them is poised to take over. Now, their deal breakers, though, playing time and coach prestige. Roos could be an issue with that, but he'll hopefully not freak out and want to leave, knowing that Free will still have that 1 more year. Ooh, I'm liking the tight end option on this guy, a 74. I'm going to place him there right now. And Wakefield, defensive edge, which was thin, so I think we'll put him straight into left edge. It's already the athletes. Let me see that everything else is balanced, and we'll move on. Conference realignment coming. Wow, our senior graduating tight end has left a huge hole there. We've got a Couple of guys ready to step in though and develop, but there's a lot of young guys in this group. On to those training results, there's a couple positions that are a little bit worrying where we're lacking starter quality, but hoping that through development we still have that starter quality. Heading into next season, we're starting off with Middlebrooks getting a +7, now being a 98 overall, or 97. It looks like we get a little bit of bonuses from somewhere somehow, because realistically, up above me there, it's 97 overall. Where on screen we're seeing a 98. Coffee, not developing that much, but he was already quality and remains quality, and I'm happy to have him here even if he didn't develop at all. Cobbs up to a 93, Free a 92 as a junior quarterback. That's fantastic. Biggs up to a 90, Folsom up to a 90. So 3 receivers at a 90 plus and a quarterback at a 92. That's going to be pretty lethal. Another corner at an 89. There's a halfback in Dunham at an 89. Sad he didn't improve much more. Head's going to be an 88 right behind him, so a nice 1-2 combination. Strong safety, left tackle. Getting to 85 gets us down to here. That's close to a third of the way. Almost a third, definitely more than a quarter. Plus gets us to about the 2/3 point on the roster, so really good there. First guy not developing is a redshirt freshman punter, and we've got 3 guys at a 69. Otherwise, everybody's 70 plus. And the nice thing is this bottom end, 100% of it is redshirt freshmen. There's a true sophomore. One guy, Freeman, was needed a little bit too much. He only had 3 tackles, but he played about 7 games. He played most of the season as that backup. He didn't get on the field a ton, but he got on the field a little too much, was a little too necessary. We were a little thin at middle linebacker last year, so we did not get a chance to redshirt him. But a 74 left tackle is the first player that we get that's kind of outside of that realm of second year in the program, or is our first third year in program kind of guy. And then a couple true sophomores, and I have no idea about Donnerson, tight end. He's third year in the program, but that's already high 70s. So it's only taken us 3 years to get guys right. These second year guys are all first development year, so they're making that progress, and then we seem to get everybody just about to an 80 by the next year. Okay, custom conferences. Right. In the American, which I think is where we are going to be headed, you have Tulane at 12, you have UAB at 25, Army is 1.5 stars and a 69, Charlotte's 1 star and a 63, East Carolina 1.5 stars, 74. So that's definitely a little tougher than what we're used to seeing on half star below, because two stars for Florida Atlantic is a 71. Rice 2.5 and a 74. So that's the standard for a 2.5. North Texas is 2. Navy's 1.5. Memphis is 2.5, but a 74. So definitely a little bit higher quality from our conference, from the MAC, but clearly better prestige. Temple's only 2 stars, but a 79, and we're 10-3 last year. There's your standard bearer, Tulane, 12-2, 4 stars, 84 overall, meaning we absolutely can compete at or near the top of the American Conference right away, and you would hope that that would boost prestige, because a lot of these programs have prestige but are weaker. Tulsa, only a 67 overall, but that's a 2-star program. You beat a 2-star program, it looks better than beating a half-star or 1-star program who's got the same rating. UAB is a 2-star, that's a 72 overall. So I do think we can slot in near the top. Texas, San Antonio, 2-star, 8 and 5, 67 overall. South Florida, 76, 2-star, 72 overall. So we could and should, right? Temple, Tulane, like we could win the conference. We should be able to be top 3 in the conference quite easily each season, and I do think that that's going to have a positive impact on our prestige, on our reputation. So first thing is we're going to move Akron to the American. That now makes it a 15-team conference, which is pretty big. This is going to be a temporary stop, I think. I don't think we're going to stay here forever. Maybe it's 4 years, maybe it's 5 years, and then we move on to a larger conference. So I don't think I'm going to do all of the shuffling right now. But there's definitely one thing that I would like to do, and that is they already decided upon moves to the Pac-12. Let's go make those happen. You know, UConn's cracked the top 25 and they're a 3.5-star now, which is not where they were at all. But I think they are actually benefiting from the reputation of the conference to recruit players because of Notre Dame and the advantages that they carry. Historically, UConn is nowhere near this quality. They're not a 76 overall IRL, not even close to it. I'd really like to get those two out. As I'm shifting 2-star San Diego State over to the Pac-12, cool helmet design. So the Pac-12 will now have 8 programs IRL. They've got a 9th in Gonzaga, but that's basketball only. So the rebuild begins. But of course, I just pulled programs out of other conferences who will have replacements, some of which is movement amongst top division programs, some of which is promotion of teams from the next tier down, and we don't have those to replace, but we can find any other movement that's happening. The latest move has Louisiana Tech moving out of Conference USA IRL to the Sun Belt, so we'll go ahead and bring them in and add them to the West Division there, keeping that balanced. The Mountain West, after losing so many programs to the Pac-12, I think it's obvious that a retool here, I need to get them to 8 programs. So I'm going to find one to bring them in. We're not making the major moves now, mostly just the IRL moves that are imminent, either just happening in real life or happening in the next year or so. But I think I want to gut the independents first and foremost. So UConn is going to fill that void, even though it's not a suitable place for them. But they've gained way too much in this playthrough from being an independent, and so is Notre Dame for that matter. And the obvious destination for Notre Dame is the ACC. Now the big test is, will it let me clean out the independents? And it has. The independents, blank. Love it. Love it. Okay. I think that's a good first step. We got 15 in the American with the addition of ourselves. That's the only change for the American Conference. I think a wider realignment will happen when we make our next move beyond the American. I think it'll be more of a vision that I have on what I think should occur / what's starting to take shape in terms of a full-on independence move for football from standard conferences and doing something a little more unique. So as we already took a look through the American, one more thing that I just kind of wanted to point out. We've seen that overall prestige is definitely higher here than what we're leaving behind. Conference prestige also a full grade higher. we will benefit from that. But in terms of where we are in comparison, there's 2.5-star programs besides ourselves. You've got Memphis, they were 8-6 a year ago and a 74 overall, and Rice, 7-6 a year ago, 74 overall. So the standard, we're going to be well above. Tulane, of course, then has the 4-star, and we're 12-2 a year ago, which is the same as what we were, but they're an 84. We're an 89. I think we absolutely can compete with Tulane at the top of the conference on a regular basis. It should be us and them in championship games in the coming years, you would think. And that should be able to get us to that 3rd star fairly quickly, as we're a fair bit better than Memphis or Rice, and our strength of schedule will be improved in the coming years. So we'll get more recognition. So that's it for custom conferences for now, until the next big move. With our development, we have a 92 overall coming into the season, with a 94 offense and a 91 defense, and a new conference that we're going to get to play in. Folsom is still a player at risk on playing style. He only improved from an 89 to a 90 this year. Pro potential is the concern of 3 players, including a pretty good free safety in Wilbur. He was on that list last year while he was in the 70s. He was, I think, a 78 last year. Wakefield's a true freshman we just brought in. And I think Kenyon was also somebody we just recruited, so a couple of young guys. And our preseason rank is up there in that corner. We're starting for the very first time ranked. Moving to a new conference has had an immediate impact on us. We are 17th in the nation. So, here's how our schedule is shaping up. We're going to be on the road at 24th Miami, who a year ago was one of those top 10 or top 5th or 6th recruiting class. They were 8-5 last season, and I think they underperformed. They were in the championship game the year prior or something like that, or at least in the playoff, whatever it was. FCS Southeast, Kansas, and SMU. So 2 ranked opponents. Our conference slate this year after opening with week 0 through 3, so no bye weeks early on. Our old conference, we always had a week 0 bye week. We always had a week 4 or 5 bye week before we really got, maybe we had one conference game early, but always it was about week 6 before we started the conference, either the second game or first game. This year, that'll already be 3 games into the conference slate, so we're playing games a lot earlier than before. We have a couple 3 open weeks over the course of the season, and kind of late. We've got Tulane coming off a bye week. That'll certainly help us, and we are at home for that one. That'll certainly help us, where your other most prestigious program in Temple is at home. Rice, though, on the road, and Memphis on the road. Won't be easy to run the table on the conference this year. Definitely more difficult than years prior. I still think we are a strong contender, though, for a conference championship game, but it definitely may not be in the undefeated manner. There might be a lot of 7-1 or 6-2 conference records in the next 4 years as we try to establish ourselves as the best of the conference, build up that prestige, see that playoff. We open the regular season week 0 at Miami, and they're a 99 overall. So even though we are ranked 17th and they are ranked 24th, they are comfortable favorites for this one, especially with the road situation we find ourselves in. American Defensive Player of the Week, 7 tackles, strong safety Waller, great start for us. We also have the Offensive Player of the Week, Biggs at wide receiver, not even our top guy. Having both of those guys as the National Offensive and National Defensive Player of the Week is actually quite easy when it's week 0 and only handful of teams end up playing, we find ourselves 1-0. We've beaten Miami on the road 38-31. Huge statement victory. It's going to be really, really good for a rapid start. SMU is going to be another really difficult one, though. Even Kansas isn't going to be easy, but at least we are home for SMU. We've got a chance to have ourselves in a really good start position for this season, all things considered. I'd like to get the locked-in upgrade going for motivators, so we're going to start with the quarterback, as they're involved in every play, whether you're running, whether you're throwing. So we're now a few weeks into the season. I've trimmed off 4 targets that had competition that I didn't feel we were in a position to potentially win. I've got a little bit of hours left to go ahead and offer new scholarships and fill that list back out to 35. But first notable thing is we have 0 5-star targets this season. There's competition for all of them. We're not going to get a 5-star guy this year. As we get down into the 4-star, a lot of what's left without offers right now are guys we can't offer to, which that is actually a really short list now. Most players are willing to talk to us, but it's a lot of wide receivers and halfbacks, of which there's an abundance of. Yeah, we don't need to add more to that list. I mean, here's a guy that's, number 1 on his list. He wants to come to us, but I've got 6 guys ahead of him that are higher ranked than him, which is a nice problem that we're starting to happen, that we're ignoring a lot of 4-star guys. It used to be wide receivers only that I was ignoring. Now I'm ignoring wide receivers and halfbacks. Nothing easy about this game. SMU is also ranked in the top 20. We're up to 14th right now. They have an 85 overall, but we are at home. Tough non-conference game. Easily could go either way. We're probably just about favorites here, though. We've beaten SMU. We're 4-0. And Vaughn's, our corner, with an interception, 13 tackles, and a pass deflection, is the national and conference player of the week. FCS was very comfortable at 62-7, 48-28 for Kansas, and 56-45, an 11-point victory. Offense leading the way, defense not having a very good one. The Miami game, largely led by our D. Both sides of the ball doing really well against the FCS opponent, Kansas. Offense had a good showing, defense had a good showing, neither was great. Here, the defense struggled to shut down SMU, but the offense really showed up with 56 points. Our first conference game is on the road at a quality Navy team with a 77 overall. Plus 15, I'm used to seeing about a minus 10 reduction, right, when you travel on the road. Meaning, yes, we're favorites, but just barely against a pretty good Navy side. Now, a little more than a handful of weeks into the season, recruiting-wise, I'm down to 23 all 4-star recruits, the rest of the list being 3 stars. Now, we're dominating selection on the 3 stars. I have 0 competition. I'm putting 0 hours in, just scholarship offers. But they are making that headway to make it easy to recruit most of those guys, unless other competition comes along. But as for the 23, well, there's a few, 3, 4, 5, that we are not on their list. It's going to require hours to get on their list. Otherwise, they would be easy losses and they would slip away. But most of them already have us at number 1, even without putting in hours. Just that scholarship offer has got us slightly pulling ahead. But these are recruits of a tier, of a caliber, that a big program comes along and they make rapid progress in a single week, and just like that, they would be off the list. So it really comes down to who we're offering and who we're putting time in on right now. That's split amongst 12 guys. I've got a handful, 4 of them, where I'm splitting the hours and trying to get to the head. Irvin, we've just started this week, so we haven't seen the benefit yet. Trying to get him going. The others have that little bit of a head start if something happens that maybe we can hold somebody off, depending on who. And then there's 8 that we're going all in on. And I'm nervous about, well, kind of really all of them, because there's competition of multiple teams coming at us. And while we are number one for all 8 of them, it's pretty easy. Like here, Michigan coming in on Rivas, they just did a lot more than us. But they also just had a visit, so maybe we can get back in. A few of these guys are starting to get close as we've been doing 50 hours from the very beginning. But I'm nervous really about losing any or all of the 8. But I do feel like we're going to come away with about 4 of the 8. And that's kind of what you got to do to get things going and get these 4 stars signed. But after beating Navy, a 77 overall, with a strong road 21-7 victory, very good defensive day. Now we've got Memphis, 3-1, 1-0 in conference. Another not easy victory. We are very much in a position where we are going to lose some of these conference games. I don't think we're going to be sweeping through. There's too much quality here compared to what we had. Being able to run the table with the MAC and then still go and lose the conference championship to that best team every other year. I think we can easily lose a couple of these conference games and find ourselves about 6-2 in conference on a regular basis. That's one of those opportunities. Memphis, they absolutely could beat us. Another great defensive showing against Memphis. Offense, not great in these last couple games. We're in the low 20s. We're facing quality opponents that are definitely checking our offense, especially on the road. But our defense has been phenomenal in each, giving up a touchdown or less. And we find ourselves 6-0, first in the conference. Next up is USF at home. They're just 2-2. Should be a win. North Texas should be a win. It's going to be Rice where we have maybe some difficulty. Another opportunity, another mid-70s kind of type of opponent. But they're not looking great so far this season, but they're 1-0 in conference, so they're not going to have any bye weeks. We're going to be coming off a bye week. That should help us. And Tulane got off to a slow start this season. They were 2-2 in their non-conference schedule and now are 3-2 overall. So maybe it's a little bit of a rebuilding year, and maybe it's an opportunity for us to run the table. We would easily be headed for the playoff if we can run the table and win the conference. Especially right now, 10th in the nation at 6-0. Halfway through the season. We did lose Rivas. They made a massive jump with their Week 5 visit. Their Week 5 visit saw him go way from not yet down to top 3 to recruited. He was supposed to visit with us this week, and he's not making the visit. But this is going to be a good opportunity to get guys like Haskins as they're coming for a visit this week, and Lamp coming for a visit this week. Cincinnati, oh buddy, that's going to be tough. If they have a really good result, we could lose him. He's coming to us week 7. Blade, they've caught up to us, but this might be enough to give us the edge to get to him before a recruiting battle, before his later visits. Well, the tables have definitely turned a little bit as we have moved into a new conference, and I think that's going to be worthy as we've already had more time and effort going into the realignment and talking about what the conference looks like. I do think this is going to be a 2-episode type season, or at least the next episode rolling over into the next season. Give us a little more time to talk about things. I've had a couple of really long episodes lately as we've been pushing to new heights, new levels, and now that we are officially at a new height, new level, and in the top 10 for the first time in our program's history, I think. No, the playoff year, we cracked the top 10, I believe. I think we got up to 9th, maybe. Anyway, this is where you have a 2-episode type week. So that's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.